So there are two things that ACHARA has accused me of. Number one, being on the spectrum. Number two, having ADHD. And so here we've got an ice cream sandwich video. Welcome, folks. I'm Jaby, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
Sounds so awful.
Oh, well, now the audience gets to find out the truth. So, Ice Cream Sandwich has made a video called ADHD. Definitely has me curious about what he has to say about the topic. I'm sure it's going to be quite fun. You guys, if you haven't already, do me a big favor. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications. Pretty please vote this up. Let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. If you are, while you're subscribing and upvoting, subscribe to Ice Cream Sandwich. There's a link in the description below. Click on that link. You have the original video and upvote, and subscribe to them from there. Him from there.
This is your brain. And this is your brain on ADHD.
Oh.
Wait. So it turns out your boy has ADHD.
That caught me off guard. Those are little jokes I like from him.
Because you would die.
He's like, wait, he just died.
Dead.
Wait. So it turns out your boy has ADHD. Who would have guessed? I got officially diagnosed about a year ago now. The process for getting diagnosed was odd. I didn't really know what to expect when getting diagnosed, but I didn't expect it to include wires, that's for sure.
Oh,
By the
wow.
way, two things. One, I am not a doctor, so always get a professional diagnosis if you suspect anything. And two, ADD is no longer a thing. It is all under ADHD now, with two flavors. There's the inattentive type and the hyperactive type. And apparently, I am the inattentive type.
Higher active.
So, all of this started with good old classic denial. I had a lot of ADHD symptoms for a long time, and we'll go over specifics later, but have you ever noticed in TVs and movies where ADHD is just like, ooh, a squirrel, ooh, a ladybug, ooh, a piece of candy? That's only on the surface level of ADHD, and unsurprisingly, it is a much more complicated thing than popular media makes it out to be. Big surprise. I thought, I don't do that, and therefore, I don't have any ADHD. But one day, I was watching goofy internet videos and saw something that was like, this video is very goofy and relatable. Allow me to just look down at what the creator wrote about the video and possible tags associated with this morsel of entertainment. I don't suspect anything, Orbeez. This probably doesn't mean anything. This started to happen more and more until I started to ask some serious questions about myself. And I'll tell you how I figured out that I have ADHD. But first, you don't like watching sponsorships. But what if you could watch an entire sponsorship segment in under 1 second? Introducing the All-at-Once-a-tron. Just get inside and I pull this lever and... well... Plan B. NordVPN is a virtual private network service that gives you privacy online. If you're looking for a blanket of security while browsing the internet, VPNs are a great way to achieve that. Using NordVPN encrypts your browsing activity, so nobody knows who you are or where you're going. NordVPN can be used as an ad blocker, so you can get around annoying ads. Every once in a while, I want to watch something that isn't available in my country. So I boot up Nord to bypass those stupid poo-poo region block content restrictions, and I do what I want. Go to nordvpn.com/icecreamsandwich to get a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month with a huge discount. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Thank you, NordVPN, for sponsoring this
like,
video.
you know when people talk a lot and they spit on you?
These coincidences. It's led me to think and reflect on a lot of things. There were a lot of memories that started to seem like signs more than just memories. Like forgetting to drink water for an entire day might be a sign of something and not just be a goofy little thing that I do sometimes. So I started to read books and watch lectures and learn as much as I could about ADHD. And the more that I did, the more that puzzle pieces started to click. These are things that I did that I thought were normal, but were actually signs of ADHD. Having hundreds of tabs open at a time constantly to a point where 30 gigabytes of RAM is a necessity is something people with ADHD do. Doing a task like locking the door.
That's a tough one, because like there are things I want to look at later on, okay? I just want to look at it later on. What's the problem? I'm not the only one. Google Chrome, people have, there are tons of people with like lots of Google Chrome tabs.
To be fair, I keep a lot of tabs open now, but that's because I got that from you. And also I'm afraid that if I close out a tab, later on you might come back and be like, ACHARA, where was that tab that I've had open for the past 3 months?
I gave you ADHD?
Yeah.
No,
you gave me a complex, that's what you gave me.
Doing a task like locking a door, but seconds later you aren't totally sure if you locked the door, so you relock it another time or two. There's this thing I like to do when I'm alone.
What?
Okay, guys, every time we go somewhere in his car,
I don't want my car to roll into the wall.
Park the car, leave, and then like 2 seconds later be like, ACHARA, can you go back to my car and check if I pulled the park brake?
It's a stick shift, ACHARA KIRK, okay? I have to make sure it's actually not going to roll away on me and then into a wall or into a person. And then I get sued for just because I didn't go back and check the brake.
Right, but by now it's habit, right?
No, there was an instance once where like I went inside. I'm like, I'm surely I pulled it just as I have a habit. And I pulled it and it went, and it's like, well, that would have been fucked if I didn't go back and check.
Or so you relock it another time or two. There's this thing I like to do when I'm alone where I walk in circles for a couple of hours and I talk to myself. Don't judge me. I like it, but also apparently it's an ADHD thing. Reading paragraphs of books over and over, even though I'm very intentionally trying to read it, I have to do it multiple times. It took me ages to finish Hatchet. Ages! And it wasn't even that good. Going to do...
Okay, that's a thing.
Do you do that?
I have a hard time with reading sometimes where I have to go back over the paragraph again. My brain just goes somewhere else. It's like it flies off and I gotta go over the paragraph again. That happens to me sometimes, yeah. It's very frustrating. Because I'm just trying to get through something and it's not even a long book. And Charles like, why is that taking you so long? I'm like, shut up! I'm trying my best here. Jackie Chan movie? Like, it's just like my brain will just go somewhere else.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that good. Going to do a task and forgetting what the task was on my way to do it because I'm thinking of something in the meantime. Chronically. Like this happens every day, all day. Like this one time, Kelly wanted some chocolate and I was like, I can get you chocolate. And I went to the kitchen to go get chocolate. But from point A to point B, I just got distracted. And I kind of found myself holding chocolate. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm hungry for chocolate. And I eat it. And I get back to the room where Kelly was sitting and she was sad because I was eating her chocolate. I don't know how to explain it other than like, I didn't mean to do that. It just happened. And it happens a lot. Caffeine does not work on me and just makes my heart rate go up. Contacting me is a nightmare and usually takes a couple of messages until I get around to it. Not doing things right up until the deadline. That one's a common one. And the list goes on. So after all of this reflection and learning, I have very strong suspicions that I have ADHD. So I had to get a professional to assess me and look at my brain. Oh God. The assessment included a bunch of questions. The first part of it included this new test, which I think was called an EKG. They strap a bunch of wires to your head and measure your brain waves. The instructions were to stay still and do not move for 30 minutes.
Oh, God.
ADHD
Oh, wow.
test. Stay still. 30 minutes.
That would drive me nuts. Oh, just thinking about that would drive me crazy. That would drive me crazy.
That's fine. Just meditate. Just chill.
As soon as you say don't move for 30 minutes, the first thing I want to do is start like crossing my legs and like stretching. And I don't like that. It just feels like I'm inside of a, what do you call it? One of those crazy jackets.
A straight jacket.
A straight jacket, yeah.
Yeah.
You already know the results. I had ADHD, and I felt weirdly relieved. There has been a lot of frustration in my life because despite trying really hard to focus, I could only achieve half as much as other people. So despite still having issues with it, it feels good to know why. I never expected that was going to be a meaningful thing to me, but here we are. Anyway, after my diagnosis, there was talk about medication, and that did not go well, but I'm going to make a second video about that. I have an idea of what I'm going to say, but since we're entering medication territory, I want to try to be a little bit more thoughtful about how I go about the video. So, need a little bit more time. Thank you for your patience about it. I wish you the best, and thank you for watching. Oh, piece of candy.
Oh my God.
I definitely relate to a number of the things he was talking about in there.
If you are interested, you could always get tested, Jaby Koei.
I think that for someone like myself, I think it's the confirmation that I don't want. Having a vague idea of this abstract thing, oh yeah, maybe, and that's kind of funny. To be told and diagnosed with this label that now I have to take a prescribed medication for, or not, but still, like just having the label, I don't know.
I think like what he's saying, it can be incredibly liberating in a way, because then you get to understand yourself and know what makes you tick. It's not that there's anything wrong with you, it's just that your brain works in a different way. And so once you understand that, you can understand why you do things a certain way or why you behave a certain way and how to maximize your life according to how your brain works.
Let me tell you something. Life and women are enough of a barometer to let me know I'm different. I'm clearly different. It's like I don't need a doctor to tell me I'm different. I got those two things as a measure to let me know that, you know, I don't think like everybody else does. I don't look at things like the way everybody else does. And sometimes that's uncomfortable. You know,
I mean, we're all different. That's the thing. I think we're all unique.
Like sometimes I have a hard time reading because I'm dyslexic. I imagine that I'm at least somewhat dyslexic because
You were never diagnosed.
I was not ever diagnosed, but like my brain is trying to process stuff so fast, it'll just start moving the word somewhere else, or like taking a word out, or like I will think I wrote something down. Text is where I always fuck myself up. Text messaging is where I'm the worst because I will write a text message and it's very key whether I have the word don't or do. Like it radically changes the implication of the statement.
Right.
And sometimes I will put do or instead of don't or vice versa. And I'm like, what? Wow. And so I have to quickly like do an asterisk and you know, explain like, no, I just what I meant. It's exhausting sometimes because I'm like, I know I wrote that.
Right.
I'm convinced I put the right thing. And then I look back, I'm like, what the? Did someone else take over my body for a second? I don't understand what just happened here. Why is that one word not there? You know, anyway.
Right.
That'll happen sometimes.
No, I definitely recognize some of the stuff that he was talking about because recently I was working with a couple people who have ADHD, but I didn't know it when I started working with them. And I would be like, God, like, why are they so hard to reach sometimes? Like, they just don't reply. One person told me like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't come into work today. I'm like, what happened? Like, are you okay? And they were like, oh, no, I just passed out. I'm like, what? And then the following day, they told me that they had just forgotten to eat and drink. And it was a hot day. And
I am half
then
Italian.
they just passed out.
I don't ever forget to eat or
no,
drink.
I never forget to eat. That's the one thing that's constantly on my mind. I'm like, how do you forget to eat? Like, I don't even understand how that works. But it does, especially like because they took the medication, whatever that medication is.
I suppose I've had days where I just like I reach 3 o'clock and I'm like, oh, I haven't eaten anything today. That's happened to me a number of times, but that has a lot to do with just working, especially, you know, with working at home. That's what makes things worse. You know, like I'll have my coffee with some collagen in it. Because of the collagen, I think I'm not hungry, and I just go straight working until like 3 or 4 o'clock, and I'm like, oh shit, like I haven't actually had a proper meal today.
But that's okay. Like it's almost like intermittent fasting or something. I think genuinely, I would never forget to eat for an entire 24-hour cycle. You've seen me when I skip a meal.
I see you every day.
I'm incredibly cranky.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna smack you. Gonna do it.
What are you doing? What you?
Stay still.
Stay still. What are you doing?
I see you.
Oh my god. We're ending this video. You guys, thanks so much. I'm Jaby Kuwait. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.